You're sitting somewhere warm right now, blanket within reach, phone in hand. For roughly 300,000 years, nobody in your family line had any of that. No walls, no fire on demand, no guarantee of seeing morning. Right now, hunger means opening an app. Cold means adjusting a dial. None of that existed for most of human history. So how did humans actually survive without any of it? No modern medicine, no manufactured shelter, no stored food, no backup plan. How did a slow, clawless, comparatively weak animal make it through 100,000 winters? Take away the roof, take away the pantry, take away every button that solves a problem for you. What's left is a body, alone in the dark, with a short list of tools to make it to sunrise. No 911, no antibiotics, no store 2 minutes away, no lock on any door. Start with fire, because everyone assumes its main job was keeping people warm. That's only half the story. In 2012, archaeologist Francesco Berna and his team examined ash and burned bone fragments deep inside Wonderwork Cave in South Africa. The layers dated back roughly 1 million years, among the oldest solid evidence anywhere on Earth for controlled fire use by early humans. Lab tests on the sediment confirmed the ash hadn't simply washed in from outside, it had been burned right where it was found, over and over, in the same spot. 1 million years, long before Homo sapiens existed as a species. The real value wasn't heat, it was food. Cooking breaks down tough plant fibers and makes calories available that raw chewing simply can't reach. Some researchers estimate a cooked meal can deliver well over 30% more usable energy than the same food eaten raw. That single shift may have freed up energy the body used to spend on digestion and rerouted it somewhere else entirely. Over generations, human brains grew far larger relative to body size than any apes, while human guts grew noticeably smaller. Fire didn't just keep hands warm. It may have rebuilt the body from the inside. So fire solved food and warmth. The body still had a harder problem to answer, because on raw strength alone, humans are almost embarrassingly outmatched. Pound for pound, a chimpanzee is roughly 1.5 to 2 times stronger than a human. A cheetah can hit 60 miles an hour. A human's flat out sprint tops out around 15 to 20. On paper, humans should lose almost every physical contest in the animal kingdom. In 2004, biologists Dennis Bramble and Daniel Lieberman at the University of Utah and Harvard University published research on a trait most people overlook entirely: endurance running. Humans carry close to 2 million sweat glands across their skin, far more than any other primate, which lets the body cool itself while moving instead of stopping to pant in the shade. Their study also pointed to a long Achilles tendon and a springy ligament at the base of the skull, both of which help stabilize a human body through hours of steady running, in a way no ape's body can manage. That difference matters more than raw speed. A human can hold a steady jogging pace for hours in open heat. Most fast, four-legged prey overheats and collapses long before that. Even a chimpanzee, built with far more raw muscle, has to stop and rest within minutes at a pace a human could keep up for an entire afternoon. Slow and sweaty beat fast, and furry more often than instinct suggests. Fire and stamina explain food and movement. So what handled the actual nights, especially the cold ones? Everyone pictures clothing as a fairly recent invention, something that shows up alongside farming, cities, and needles made of steel. The genetic evidence says otherwise. In 2003, geneticists Ralph Kittler, Manfred Kaiser, and Mark Stoneking at the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology in Leipzig, Germany, studied the DNA of body lice, which live specifically in clothing rather than on skin or in hair. The two lice species look almost identical today, but their DNA has been quietly diverging for tens of thousands of years, and geneticists can read that steady rate of change like a clock running backward. By measuring how long ago body lice genetically split off from head lice, they estimated that humans had already started regularly wearing something: furs, hides, wrapped skins, roughly 170,000 years ago. That's tens of thousands of years before the oldest sewing needles ever found in the archaeological record. The evidence isn't a needle or a scrap of fabric. It's an insect that could only have evolved once clothing became a permanent part of human life, and without it, humans likely couldn't have pushed into the colder regions they eventually settled. Here's where it gets strange. Everyone assumes survival was ultimately a solo act. One person against the wild. The anthropological record points the other way. In 2009, anthropologist Sarah Blaffer Hrdy published a synthesis of decades of fieldwork on cooperative caregiving among hunter-gatherer societies, including the Efi people of the Democratic Republic of Congo. FA infants, the research found, were held by someone other than their mother for close to half of their daylight hours in the first months of life, passed between fathers, grandmothers, older siblings, and unrelated adults, in the same camp. In some of the groups studied, a single infant might be carried, fed, or soothed by half a dozen or more different people before the day was through. That pattern, known as cooperative breeding or alloparenting, is unusual among primates. Chimpanzee and gorilla mothers rarely let anyone else touch a newborn for months. Human infants, by contrast, are unusually slow to develop and unusually demanding to raise. Shared caregiving meant a mother could forage, hunt, or rest instead of carrying a dependent infant every waking hour, which may be exactly why the species couldn't have made it without spreading that burden across an entire group. Fire, stamina, and clothing solve the body's problems one at a time. But none of that explains what actually held the whole thing together, because none of those pieces work alone. Fire only stays lit if someone tends it while others sleep. A body built for endurance still needs someone watching the camp during a 6-hour chase. Clothing has to be made, mended, and handed down across generations. None of it matters if there's no one free to hold a child too young to survive on its own. Each adaptation mattered on its own terms. But the thing running underneath all of them, the thing that let a slow, clawless, badly outmatched animal survive ice ages, droughts, and predators built to kill it in seconds, was never really any single tool. It was the fact that nobody had to face the night completely alone. Picture that warm room again. The blanket, the phone within reach, the walls holding the night outside where it belongs. None of it required someone to tend a fire while you slept, or hold your child so you could rest, or pass down a hide sewn tight enough to survive a winter. Modern life didn't remove the need for other people. It just made that need invisible. Wrapped inside a thermostat, a delivery app, a lock on a door. For most of human history, survival was never really a test of strength or speed. It was a test of who was still standing next to you when the fire burned down. Take away every wall, every switch, every app. And one thing never changed. Humans didn't outlast the wild by being the strongest thing in it. They outlasted it by never actually being alone in it.